joins us live now from outside Randburg. Aaron, take us through firstly what happened inside court.
Well, Xoli, these court appearances seem to be following the same kind of pattern. We see sort of heavy security presence prior to the accused's arrival, that is Duduzane Zuma, who faces a charge of culpable homicide in connection with a fatal car crash in February of 2014, around 10 in the evening on a rainy night in Sandton, and that led to the death on the scene of one woman. Another passenger later died in hospital. But here at court, as you've asked, it's a lot of security. Then he, and again with his father supporting him, are whisked inside, and the proceedings are over in a matter of minutes before there's then their exit. A swell of support, the likes of Black First, Land First here again. Also a small contingent of the DA to show their displeasure at Duduzane Zuma and the charges he's facing. And then it's all really over, except for some song and some dance following his exit from the precinct.
Aaron, of course, you are outside now. Court proceedings inside have really quickly been dealt with. Talk to us about what the leader of BLF, Andile Mngxitama, had to say outside there.
Xoli, I'm afraid I can't tell you because I didn't speak to him. I was based inside court, so I can tell you about what happened there. We know, for example, and this is new information, that there is now a provisional trial date for this case. That's been set down to begin provisionally on the 26th of March, but Duduzane Zuma will appear in court before then. He's set to appear at 8:30 on the 24th of January next year for a pre-trial hearing. He's out on a warning, no bail, but on a warning from the magistrate. And in court, actually, between proceedings, spoke about his newborn child. But importantly, Xoli, also that when he was leaving, I managed to squeeze into the scrum and ask him whether or not he would be appearing at the state capture inquiry as a witness. His response to me was, "I am a law-abiding citizen," to which I said, "I take that as a yes," and he said, "Make of it what you will." So he's not been summoned at this point from what he suggested to me in that scrum, but that he will respond in compliance with the law if and when the time comes.
Any word from our former president, Jacob Zuma?
Not that I caught some chuckles in court at the benches, and he warmly greeted Andile Mngxitama, the leader of Black First, Land First, who you mentioned earlier. Our colleague Masego Ratlatla spoke to him, so we'll be able to get some comment from her on that. But a few words from the former president, and in fact he did look quite tired, I thought, appearing here today with a full bevy of presidential security around him. And of course that's the perk of him pitching up here in support of his son, that he brings with him this presidential security which he enjoys, having served as head of state as he did. But Xoli, I think what's also important to underline here, around all of the political framing we often see at these court appearances, brief as they are, is that it really concerns the fatal crash of 2014 involving Duduzane Zuma's Porsche, and the fact that a woman died on the scene. She was a mother to a newborn child who's now 5 or 6 years old, and from what we understand from reports, only received 5,000 rand from a taxi association. Nothing more as compensation for that family, and no justice, many would argue.
Yeah, Aaron, and also curiously, another person is alleged to have died as a result of that car accident. That person died later in hospital. Curiously, though, also, Aaron, is the issue that you mentioned earlier about Duduzane mentioning his child. What about his child?
Just that he's a new father. We know that he's predominantly based in Dubai. That emerged during proceedings last time he was here in court. But that, you know, he's sort of in good spirits and tackling that kind of challenge. I mean, there's a bit of irony there, of course, because the orphan of Ms. Dube, Phumzile Dube, I think it was, who died on that February night in 2014, apparently been sent back to Zimbabwe, where she lives with her grandmother. Her brother has previously spoken to Ratlatla, and she'll be able to give us some more insight into the family's position on all of this. But yes, she and her child in a very difficult position now. Well, she's passed away. I mean, her child's orphaned. And then you spoke about Nanki Mashaba, the other passenger who died weeks later in hospital. And Xoli, it's important to remember with this case, it was initially thrown out not because of no evidence, because of a lack of evidence which would lead to a successful prosecution. Then AfriForum announced that it was going to pursue Duduzane Zuma privately over that fatal car crash. And following that announcement, the NPA then kicked into action, seemingly because they had information that led them to believe they would have a successful prosecution, and they reinstated those charges. But the timing does beg the question, what changed between the NPA dropping its case and reinstating its case against Duduzane Zuma? What new evidence may have come to light which meant that they are now pursuing this new case with that provisional trial date of the 26th of March 2019?
All right, Erin Bates, thank you very much for that quick update. Of course, as you heard her mention, she is there alongside our other colleague, Masego Ratlaga, who was stationed outside, and so she'll be able to give us some detail as to what happened outside court.